Welcome to True House Stories. I am Lenny Fontana coming out of NYC. For those that don't know what NYC stands for, it's the only city in the world that has the skyscrapers that scream taller than tall. Superman has made movies from it. New York City. And today's edition is no small slight. This is a gigantic edition. First of all, we have a Grammy-nominated producer, remixer. I'll put it to you like this. It's incredible when you have a song that is when you have a record that was so big and they make a commercial parody out of it. In other words, In Living Color, I remember back in the day when In Living Color, I'll let him tell the story. Those that are old enough to remember the American show, In Living Color had a segment on with one of his artists, and I'm not gonna tell the song. He'll tell it in his story when he's there. But that to me is what I call iconic. We joke about it. We've all hung out. But at the end of the day, I have so much love for this man. As many people, you all hear me talk about, God, Lenny, you have so many friends. This is what happens in the walk of life. You gain friends. You gain lifelong friends. These people are not just friends. They are what we call our house family. They just don't, they don't come in and out of your life for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So this is the way things go. You just happen to keep them because we are all doing the same. We walk away from each other for a moment. Maybe we don't speak like all the time, but then when we come together, within 2 seconds, we pick up. Could be 5 years, 1 month, or 2 days, like that. Yeah. So, around the world, to people tuning in, you know how I all tell the English because it's that evening time. It's 7 o'clock, 7:02. Go get your wine, get your cheese, get your beer, get your drinks, because this story, of course, is going to get deep. It's going to get real. I like to introduce to you from Baltimore, Maryland, a great man himself, an icon. Okay, he's iconic. I don't care what he says. He's Teddy Douglas. We love him. He's a teddy bear, but god damn, he's made some amazing records, and that's all. He's as good as his last record, and every record is better than the other. So, on that note, welcome Teddy Douglas.
Wow, thanks, Lenny. Thank you, Lenny. That was amazing. That intro was bananas. You got to come on, go out on the road with me.
He told me. He says, "When I need somebody to do an introduction, I'm making sure you do it by introduction." I'm like,
"Yeah, man, that was dope." Thank you, Lenny. Thank you for having me, man. It's an honor to do this. So many of my peers have done this show with you, so I'm glad to do it. Glad to do it. We've known each other forever.
Well, I'm going to tell you, for those, I've watched Teddy's career start from the first record on,
Jump Street Records.
Yeah, Cynthia Cherry's label that she worked.
It was Jonathan Mann's label. Cynthia Cherry was the A&R person.
A&R, yeah, and I Love Don't Live Here No More. Tony Humphries killed that record on Zanzibar and Kiss.
Yeah, that's when our relationship began with Tony Humphries. From that record, Cynthia Cherry signed that record to the Welcome to the Club compilation first, before it was a single. And I'll never forget, Lenny, the last night at the Paradise Garage, the closing party, Larry.
Yes, go ahead.
He rocked 2 songs off of that, but mainly that Lisa Mitchell, Come to My Rescue. He played that like 30 times. Well, we had the lead track on that album, Love Don't Live. I did the lead vocals. I didn't want to be a vocalist, and that's how this whole production thing.
Wait, you think that's you in the lead?
That was me singing the lead.
No more.
Let me tell you something. That was funny because I did the demo, and we took it up to Cynthia Cherry, and then we got in our office, and she was like, they loved my vibe, but we came back to New York, and we had this girl. We was like, well, I just sang the demo. She's really going to sing the record. And Cynthia was like, no. Either you sing the record or bag the deal, no deal. So me, Jay, and Tommy, we went to a little huddle, discussed this, hey, yo, you gotta sing this record. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, really? They starved me. Then we recorded this in John DeMan's apartment in New York City. The rest is history.
Okay. But I'm going to tell you what. I rocked that record hard. Those that know.
Classic.
I've actually played it and talked about it on radio shows since Teddy Douglas's first record out the box was a big
classic. Yeah, Rolls Royce record. Yeah.
Okay, baby. All right, Teddy Bear, here we go. How does music find the young Teddy Douglas, the kid?
The kid.
Yeah, where does it begin for you, brother?
Well, probably from the beginning of conception, because my mom used to tell me all these crazy stories about when I was maybe like 4 or 5 years old. I had the record player actually still in my house now. When I was a kid, I couldn't read or anything, but I would identify the color of the label, obviously, of what the song, I identified the song with and I could play records, she said. I would go over there and she was amazed. She was like, wow, this kid is amazing. He's playing records. He can't read the records. He knows exactly what he's playing. And she used to tell me, like, my dad used to take me to get my hair cut, and he used to con all the fellas in the barbershop, and by coming home with a pocket full of dollars. And my mom said, how'd you get all this money? Well, every record that played on the radio station while I was getting a haircut, he would bet all the people in the barbershop that I could name the record that was playing. He bet them all $1. I bet my son could name all the records that's on that radio right now. I get $1 for me, for y'all. And he come home with a pocket full of money. Because that's where it found me. And I'll never forget this record stop where I grew up on the east side of Baltimore City called Jet Set Records. That's where I used to buy all my 45s. Back then it was mainly 7-inch 45s. And then LPs. But I would buy that record store would be forever. And then, Lenny, I just started collecting records, you know, and loving music. And my aunt was she liked jazz. She babysat me a lot when I was a kid. So I discovered jazz mainly through her, but the whole musical thing was all over the place. I mean, of course, I grew up with Jackson 5 and the whole soul thing, and of course the gospel thing, because I grew up in a Baptist church. But
I knew that.
Yeah. I grew up that way, you know, because my family is all, you know. I mean, the whole Black experience, you can't have that without the gospel. That's the whole Black experience, you know. You have to have that. So, and then you put all that together, and then this is what basically. And then when I grew up in high school and discovered disco, like around like 78, 79, discovered disco music. Man, you put all those things together, and then that's who I am, basically.
Disco dancing Teddy.
That's right.
Because I know you can dance. I've seen you dance, boy.
Yeah, I started off. I danced. That's what I used to do. I used to go to clubs. I mean, dancing was. And I don't trust no DJ that doesn't dance or can't dance. I don't trust them.
You got to know how to move. I've said that all the time. You can't dance. You can't feel the music.
Ooh.
Now, do you have any, for those out there, do you have any musical training? Did you take any instruments as you were young in high school or middle school, any of that stuff?
I basically took 2 classes. I started off on a drum. I remember I had 2 classes: a drum school where I was drumming, like a drum class, musical class, and I left that alone. I maybe did like a year or whatever, and then I did guitar for a little bit and left that alone. I didn't follow through with anything. But what's interesting about that, Lenny, is that I can hear all the instruments in my head. I worked with some incredible musicians through the course of my career. And basically, when we're in the studio, I'm saying, hey, play this, play this, play this. A lot of, you know, that happens quite often. most times that's the way it goes. Those, sometimes they give me demos or whatever, but so I hear the music, but I just can't play it. If I could play it, I probably wouldn't need anybody. I'd probably be Prince or something. I don't know, but I can't play. I don't have any musical training. I can fumble around on guitar and stuff, and but nah, no training, no official.
No, well, it's okay. Look.
It's good, man, because I do some crazy shit. Musicians would be like, "What the hell?" All right, but it works. I mean,
So let's talk about high school into the DJing part, because I know you played. I know you worked in the music industry, in the shops and stuff. So you'll fill this in for us. So
yeah. Now, so like I was saying, Jet Set Records I was about 12 years old. Maybe still buying records as a kid. I have an incredible amount of records in my house. And in high school, it was all about this club here in Baltimore called Odell's. I probably everybody's known. This was like our paradise garage here in Baltimore. So around my junior year in high school, which would have to be around like 1980, 81, 19, I graduated in 82. I had a group of friends that we were all like the cool kids in high school. We wore penny loafers and Azaz shirts, all the stuff the kids are into now. We did that like in the 80s. That's the height of faith. And we would hang out in the alleys, the side alley of Odell's, because we couldn't get in. We was too young. But the birth of they had a Richard Long sound system in there. This Wayne Davis was the DJ, who's just my best friend right to this day. But they had a Richard Long sound system in it. But on the alley, you could imagine being in the club. It was so fucking loud. I mean, it was incredible. And I didn't get into a club like that in high school until my senior year. And but like the proms and all this stuff, they would ask me, DJ, tell you DJ. And I had a friend who actually is my very close friend, Greg Lewis. We went to high school together. And he engineers all my records now. And that's my brother from another mother. He used to come over to my house after school and teach me how to put records together. And he's probably goes like, man, I didn't teach you. He always said, man, you already had it. But he was the guy that helped me understand tempo. And I had my little Gemini mixer, little 2-track Gemini mixer. They weren't 1200s. They were like belt-driven turntables with the straight arm. And man, we would come over and we would act like Odell's was all our inspiration. I had these big fake Berthas in my room that I built, stacks in my room. That it was all about Odell's. That was for us.
So that's where you get the muse from. I always tell everybody that's you got to have that foresight, the tunnel to see what's at the end, and that's what you wanted. It's like I can imagine you in that area next to Odell's, and you hear a boom, 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 boom.
No, we just that stuff.
And you hear it.
And then the people and shit, and we would be like, "Damn, I can't." So imagine
you're imagining what's going on.
Right. Imagine when we got in, though. Imagine the day that we actually got into Odell's. It was euphoria. It was like, the heavens opened up. And we got in mainly on the Monday night. Monday night was the gay night. And it was the best night, actually, to get into the club because all the queens was turned. I mean, it was Wayne, and we had this guy. It was like a transvestite. His name was TJ. And he would get on like at the end of the night. Wayne would let him get on. And he would just send the club up into a frenzy. And when we got I'm telling you, Lenny, it was the best feeling to actually get inside Odell's. And that's how I got to know Wayne, and that inspired me. It's like, yo, I want to be a DJ. This is what I want to do, man. This is what I want to do. And I followed that. Right after that, I graduated high school. The first thing I did was I was always in there. I worked at a record store. And the first record store was House of Power on Howard Street. That was the main drag on Howard Street. They had a chain of record stores, Sound of Baltimore, with Scotty B, and they were developing the unruly sound, like the Baltimore club sound. And we were developing the Basement Boys sound, which we didn't even know what we were doing, because I met Jay and Thommy through the record stores. You know, that's where everybody met. You know, actually, I knew Byron because he worked at a record store in Chicago. You know, it was about the record stores around that. This was like 82, 83, 80, around that time, right after I graduated high school. And I just stayed, I was in the record stores, man, for like 9 years, you know, different record stores. I ended up at the tip top, the best record store in Baltimore was Music Liberated. It's for Tommy worked uptown, I worked downtown. And Jay was frequently in there. And so that's how we all met. That's how Thommy and Jay and I met.
That's when the Basement Boys formed itself.
That's how the Basement Boys formed, from the record store and the clubs, of course. We all hang out at the same clubs.
So you were were you doing like sort of like what Manny Lehman was doing, working the records, selling them counterwise?
Oh yeah. We were the tastemakers. We had records. We would listen to this many records and decide these are the records that are going on the wall. These are the records and that's missing, I think, today. There's no guys that saying, look, these are the hot records, you know, or no, you know, because or the DJ would go to the club and the DJ like Wayne would play all this Italian house music, and you know, he would have a very eclectic style of playing at Odell. We would hear Yaz, we would hear ESG, Klein and B.O., just all types of music that would be sold in a record store. You know, we actually sold those records. If Wayne played at Odell's, we had it in the record store, you know. Right. And that whole connection between the record store, like Tony had it in Jersey, with Movin Records in the Zanzibar. You know, that whole thing that's gone forever.
I know, it sucks.
That totally sucks.
It sucks, everybody. You don't know. I talk about this all the time. There's that movie that Ice Cube is in, Barbershop.
Yeah.
Those that can relate. The record shop was like Barbershop.
Right.
And it was like, we would meet people, we would make deals, we would hang out, we go to club spots, records were traded off, people found out the drama. Everything was in the record shop. When that died, a lot of us felt like our heart went with it.
Yeah, man. And I remember me having to work like to a corporate level with even to maintain, because that's when I was actually independent, man. I was moving out of my mom's house, so I had to wear a suit and tie. I ended up working at Soundwaves. I was like the corporate man for like a chain of record stores in the end, you know. Cause I had to do it. Put on a suit and tie every day. I was the manager. Yeah. But that's how I was able to move out and be independent and still do my thing, you know, which a lot of kids don't understand. And that's a lot of, all these steps where I look back were essential to where I landed. Essential.
Yeah. Well, that's part of also, it's kind of like record business 101.
Exactly.
Because
this is my college. Yeah.
Yeah. You learned everything about how to make a record work from the street level all the way to corporate.
All the way to corporate, right? Exactly.
Did you have any dreams of being this record producer? And when you were at the time to watch, I should say watch, when you saw everybody around us, because you remember, you know, you had Shep and T. Scott and all the big names were remixing like crazy. Were you? The furthest dream I had was just to play at a big nightclub in New York with them. I was like, I never thought about going into actually a studio at that time. It was like,
me either, Lenny, to be honest with you. We were just happy. Our whole thing with Basement Boys was we just wanted to take the record from the studio to the club and play it. That's all we wanted. Simple math.
Just like one, you didn't care about 6,000 million. You didn't care about any of that extra stuff. All you wanted was to see something sparkle off of what you did, right?
Exactly. We would take cassettes. We had this pitch tape cassette to the club. There was no, and just get a reaction. I'll never forget. I might be moving ahead a little too far, but those times where we took those demos straight to a club and that reaction, it gives me chills, man.
This is the part I tell everybody I love. So now you're hanging out on the side, and everybody's come up going, "Yo, what is that?" And you're like just like watching everybody going, and they're saying, "Yo, it's Homeboy's record."
Right.
You and everybody's like, "Yo, man, can I get a copy?" What was the answer? Well, we're still working on it.
Yeah, man. Back in the day, man. So basically, we met in the record store. This is like 84, 85. I met Thommy and Jay, and Jay and Thommy were already doing the stuff like tracks, like just like beat tracks, like the same stuff that was coming out from Chicago, like with no vocals on it, just like DJ tools.
Okay.
And Thommy said, why don't you join, see what we're doing? Maybe, help us, do what we're doing. So I came to Jay's apartment. My idea was, hey, let's put a song on these things. Let's take this one step further. And that's how Love Don't Live Here came out, because we took that ballad from Rolls Royce and I sang the lead vocal. And that was our big first demo. Actually, that was our second demo. The first one was a song called "You Gotta Be Trippin'." It was a loop of "Going Up in Smoke," Eddie Kendrick. Da, 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 da. And I sang over top of that, like "Gotta be trippin', baby," like some ad-lib stuff. It was funny. And it was that Love Don't Live Here and something else on a demo that we gave to Cynthia when we went to New York. And we didn't even have a name. We were in the car, and like we was like, "Yo, we don't have no name. What we gonna call ourselves?" And I said, "Well, studio's in the basement." And somebody said we're boys or something. And when somebody, I don't know who said it, but when somebody said Basement Boys, it just, the car was silent for about 15 minutes. Because we knew that was his name. So by the time we got to New York, we got to Turnpike, we got to New York, we got to the Jump Street office. We had a name, we had a demo, and we was ready to go. Wow. Yeah, man, it was amazing.
So actually, you're driving from Baltimore up 95 North.
Well,
and 15 minutes inside, everybody went quiet after the Basic Boy's name was said, "Let it be written, so let it be done."
Yeah.
Basically. And then you were like, "Bet, we're going to go to her office." And I know, explain that excitement of getting your first record deal, because people don't know what that's like unless you.
I mean, the excitement came basically to me from actually hearing somebody play the record. When Tony Humphries decided that he was going to remix the record, and we went into the studio with him. This is Tony Humphries,
Listen, everyone.
God,
98.7 Kiss.
At that time, exactly. At that time, Tony was. If he played your record on the radio, you will fuck. He gave everybody careers. Blades, us.
I've said this.
We wouldn't have careers without that man.
That's right. Louis Vega.
Everybody
today, our era, had to have their record played on that show and run. Right. Wow, because he ran your records for months before they were out.
Tony was a huge fan of our music. I mean, and then
huge.
Huge. I mean, I had carte blanche, Lenny. I could go to the Zanzibar and say, Tony had a phone in his DJ booth. Had a phone in his DJ booth.
I know.
He'd get a phone like, "Yo, Teddy downstairs." Tony would say, "Send him up." I had the reels. We was coming up with the joints. Man, those are the days, man.
Let me one more time. You ready?
What?
So, how did it feel when you heard tonight's mix is mixed by Tony Humphries and you heard your song on the Kiss Mastermix? Because I know how I felt.
They used to send me tapes from New York.
So what,
like, you know, yeah, and it was
I screamed. Going nuts in the car. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. I was probably screaming.
Yep. So, man, yeah, it was a great feeling, man, to have that first record. And then to go to the garage. Now, Cynthia said Larry played it after. I didn't hear it, actually. She stayed, but I stayed at the garage till like 2 in the afternoon from the next day prior. I was out of there. I had enough. So
closing weekend?
I mean, because he played
at the closing weekend party.
It was a closing weekend party. I went there Saturday. The line was wrapped around like 3 blocks. All night and all day. It was one of my greatest experiences though as a young guy to actually be, you know, that was like my 3rd or 4th time going to the garage, but the closing party was pretty special. Yeah, man. And the only way I got in, because at that time we had a club called the Clubhouse here in Washington, D.C. And if you were a member of the Clubhouse, they honored your Clubhouse membership at the garage. You had an alliance. Because, you know, everybody said they went to the garage, but they're lying. They didn't go to the garage because it was damn near impossible to get in there. They lying. It was very, very hard to get into the garage. If you didn't know somebody or you wasn't a core member.
The only reason why I always got in was David Lozada. And then when Car Buyers came in with Master C and J, I knew them, and I knew Rick Lenore when they all came. I was so
right.
So I understand how hard it was to get in.
It was a private club, you know what I mean?
Bravado. Very
So, man, so right after that, I decided that Teddy Douglas was not singing. I did 2 shows. I did the Catacombs in Philadelphia, and I did the Clubhouse in Washington, D.C.
See, now I didn't
big children's hour party, and I said, that is it. So that started the whole, we have to find talent, you know, and there we went on to this whole kind of talent search where we found Andrea Holclaw, our first record on Profile, called Don't Blame Me. And she was a girl hanging out in the club. We found her, and then we went into another kind of like star search, Cattle Call. And this girl sang this song called Angel by Angela Winbush, Smokies. We had like 8 people lined up. She, like, one after next, they would go in and sing a song. And she sang Angel by Angela Winbush, a ballad. And she had this real dope tone. It was smoky. Her name was Ultra Latte. And we signed her. You know, so we started our production company. You know, we started thinking about like the future and how we was going to build this company. And the 3 of us started winning on this, you know, looking for talent, because I was not singing another damn record. And that's how that whole...
Why did you decide not to go further with the singing career?
Because I can't sing. I'm not a singer. I work a lot with singers because I can give them the vibe, you know. Because if I can sing and if I can play, I wouldn't need nobody.
Dude, you did really good because we all played that record.
Yeah, I know.
No such thing as in those days like Melodyne. You know, it was not like that.
Yeah, Melodyne.
Yeah, none of that. You just, whatever we put down, if it wasn't right, you recut the part.
I had to do it over and over and over. They wouldn't feed me, and I didn't get. It was horrible. Wow, it's traumatic thinking about it.
You're like, forget it.
So, man, I mean, so I decided, you know, we need to find people that really sings.